Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm on the allotment on plot 1 and these are those poor tomatoes that have been through absolute hell and back. They don't look absolutely perfect yet because when I was planting them about a week ago there were terrible winds and their leaves were shredded, but you know, tomatoes have a zest for life and they are surviving. Let me just show you the ones that are at the side of my house that I planted about a few weeks ago, and I planted them far too early. Then we'll come back here on the allotment and see how things go. A quick update on the tomatoes growing at the side of my house in the back garden. At the back here are the 8 cherry tomatoes. The first 4 are Sun Gold, the little lovely sweet orange cherries which I grow every year, and over there the ones I've not tried before, chocolate cherry. And in the front you can see that all the radishes have been eaten, and in their place are some lettuce seedlings. Here the little browny red bijou, which is a very nice lettuce, and over there a few icebergs which I have great doubts as whether they'll survive because the foxes keep digging them up, and that's why I've got all these sticks there. Well, now over back to the allotment. I have 12 tomato plants here. It's a bit overcrowded and that will certainly be noticed when the leaves grow and they'll be pushing against each other, but I am short of space, so you could probably have done with 10, but 12 is what we've got. Over here I have 4 Brandy Boy, which is an F1 hybrid, and a potato leaf variety which is taken over from Brandy Wine for me. And over here are 4 Sakuras, which is a red cherry tomato which I've not tried before but has got a good write-up that I've seen. And over here we've got something called Pink Rugby, or just Rugby, which is a seed I bought 2 years ago from Pennard Plants at the Hampton Court Flower Show. I've no idea what they're going to be like, but it'll be a bit of fun to find out. As you know, tomatoes have 2 types of roots, the feeding roots at the top and the water roots at the bottom, but very little in nature is absolutely discrete, so I'm assuming there's a bit of overlap. I have these pots that I plant them in. I've done this for many years successfully. I cut the bottoms out and it acts as first of all a protection for the young plant. It conducts the water to the water roots, and also it acts as a reservoir. I can fill this part up with water and let it sink down and fill it again. And while I'm at it, let me just take that little shoot out. It's good to take off these auxiliary little shoots between the main stem and the leaf coming out in the axil, because these are called indeterminate or cordon tomatoes. That is, they grow as tall as you want them to grow, and they're different to the bush varieties which are called determinate varieties. After I've watered the tomatoes, I feed into the top. And here we have the Tondo di Piacenza courgette, 2 of them. They're round courgettes and I've grown them for several years. And I water into them and I put lots of well-rotted manure around them, and also water into this little old, I don't know, lemonade bottle, and have a white stick there because it's easier to find out where the actual plant is. When this grows, the leaf will be really big. These are one of my favourites. As I said, they're round. I slice them and fry them in a little bit of garlic and they are really tasty. Coming on to the beans, this is Benchmaster and they're doing very well, and I put a lot of well-rotted manure around them again and into the middle to actually not just feed them but also to help retain the water. They are gross feeders like the courgettes and they like water as well. We come around here, we have the overwintering onions, and some of them now, I mean, I've been watering them so much, and some of them are now have got scapes and are going to seed. You can see the little flower head coming up there. Those are edible, and I've already taken 4 of them out, and I'm now going to take all of them out, though I think it's a bit early, but I need this space for something else. And here are the gorgeous Phacelia little flowers. They're annuals and the bees just love them, and they're going over on the wild patch, so these are the only pretty ones that are left. I forgot to mention these are radar overwintering onions, and I've grown them in the past, and they won't store very well. They don't normally store more than, say, I don't know, about a month, but these can't be cured as I did last year. They're going to have to be eaten really quite quickly. And over here I have the climbing Cobrabeam, which is one of my favourite, and I've treated it the same way as a Benchmaster runner bean, with well-rotted manure round the edge and in the middle to retain moisture as well as to feed them. And may I say, it's so wonderful to get back to the stables, though I hate doing the job, it's backbreaking, but it's just so good for everything to be back to normal as long as we distance ourselves socially from other people. But as there's no one there, it's no problem. And over here I have spring onions, which I've probably should only grow when you multi-sow about 6 or something like that. I've grown far too many in each group, but let's hope that something comes of that. And in the middle I've put a line of carrots down. If I come back round here and go to the centre where I've got flowers, the dahlias have come through. Some of them didn't. My favourite Art Deco died off, and that's an expensive one as well. And the gladioli were the first to come up and were really far hardier than I had expected. There's a couple of dahlias got singed, but they've come through as well. And over here I've planted Marketmore cucumbers and a couple of climbing courgettes called Tomba de Albenga, and I've probably overcrowded that as well, and they should climb over this arch. And I've done the same thing on the other side. So this is what plot 2 is looking like at the moment, and I know that the dahlias that did die off were the ones that didn't have enough soil on them. They weren't high enough. These are sort of heaped beds which I intend making as raised beds eventually, and so that's a next task I must get round to when I can acquire the wood. Over here I'll just show you a little bit of the raspberries, and my favourite raspberry, Glen Ample, and it's not ripe yet, but what a big one that is. And these are the ones that are finally coming up, so I'm looking forward to them, not this year but next year. This one was doing well last year, so we'll have a few raspberries from there. And the others, I've got an awful lot of weeding to do and an awful lot of watering to do as well. And at the back of plot 2 I have the main crop onions called Turbo, and there's plenty of these, so I hope when they are a bit bigger I can store these and keep me through the winter in onions. Over here, again at the back of the plot, the dahlias are looking really good, as well as the gladioli. And I have 2 pots of carrots. This one is Sweet Candle, and that one over there is Early Nantes. And at the back of plot 1 are the berries. And here are those lovely boysenberries that were so full of blossom, and now the fruits have come out in plenty, and I'm really looking forward to eating them. I can't remember whether they are superior blackberry or not, and David from Toil and Soil, or sorry David, is it Soil and Toil, asked whether they were flavoursome, and you know, I can't remember. I do know I froze a whole lot of them and used them as smoothies, but this year I will assess them. And coming on to this side is another berry, and both of them were free. This one was a seedling that just arose in my garden, which I dug up. Probably a bird dropped it, and I think it's, well, it's a hybrid berry, whether it's a tayberry, loganberry, who knows. But you have to eat them when they are really ripe, and this is ripe and it comes off that easily. And then they are sweet, tart and flavoursome, but they are tart. And these berries too, the boysenberries, I grow them because I got them for free. And as you can see here, I'm now starting to tie up the new shoots that are coming up, and later on I'll cut these down when they're over, and then I'll tie these new shoots in properly. Over adjacent to them is the garlic, and this garlic here is a soft neck, and it seems to be going over, but it came up a bit later than the others, so I think it's not yet ready. It's very difficult to tell when the garlic is ready. This one here is Carcassonne white, and it's a hard neck, and so you can see all these little scapes, these little flower shoots which are curling, and I'm going to cut those off and try to make scape pesto this year. And over here, down here, if I don't shake this too much, you can see, oops, and I've been trying to find out whether they're ready to harvest or not, and over there as well. And it's a bit difficult. You have different theories when part of this is dried up, part of the leaves, a certain 2/3 are drying and whatever, but I'm not so sure. There's been a little bit of what I call white rot, and I'm a bit concerned about that, so I might just harvest. It might not be ready in time. And these are the scapes, all of them together, and I hope to do something with them. And these are 3 of the garlics that I have pulled out. Has anyone got a comment on that? Are they too early? Do they need another week? Last year I pulled them up a bit late because it had been raining so much, and then when they dried they opened out, and I don't want that to happen this year. I'll pull a couple more out, but I might leave the others in for a few more days or 1 more week. Coming up over here we have the shallots, which were looking a bit floppy before, despite watering them, but since we've had some rain They seem to have perked up a bit, and I don't know when to harvest these either, but it's the first time I've grown them, so that should be interesting. On this side, the wildlife pond, all the lovely Phacelia flowers are going over now, and as I mentioned before, that they are annual, so I'll be pulling them out. And I have sown quite a few wildflower seeds here, but they're not come up, so I might put some other flowers in that I've been growing at home. And over there, the asparagus is now, I'm letting it grow. I've done really well from it this year. Oh, look, a beezy. And it's also got the asparagus beetle this year for the first time. I can't see any at the moment, but there was some. Oh, hang on. There. I don't know if you can see it. Asparagus beetle, which is a bit annoying, but it is quite rife on this allotment. And then on the blackcurrant patch, there are the Big Ben doing quite well, and so far the birds haven't discovered them. I expected to have more flowers, such as the borage and some others, echiums growing taller to protect them and disguise them from the birds, but it hasn't happened this year. And over here some very lovely marigolds that don't give many seeds, but I hope to grow them again next year, but I can't remember their name. If I move on to the strawberry patch, these are the 5 Swiss chard, which are called Pink Passion. They seem to be growing quite well, though maybe a bit crowded over there. And the strawberries are doing really well. After I've taken this film, I'm going to pick them and eat them. And then I have interplanted the Ishikura spring onions, and they are looking quite good, and they should really now be harvested. And one of my favourite strawberries, I've kept it out over here, is, hang on a moment, let's just bend down to get it, is Frau Mietzer Schindler, and that's what it looks like. It looks almost like a raspberry-ish type, and it is the most flavoursome of strawberries. I can't recommend it more highly than that. It really is excellent. And then coming over here finally, the broad beans. Well, they look pretty sorry for themselves. I've been picking and picking and picking them, and now for about 5-6 weeks, and now they're going over with a few left, and I've been eating them practically every day, and I've been freezing them as well. So I'm very happy with what the harvest from these beans this year. And this is my front verge, and these are the lovely Papaver Rias poppies. Unfortunately, they drop their petals at about midday. And over here we've got the double feverfew over here, and here yarrow. This one over here is yarrow, and then there's the mayweed, Matricaria. And as you can see, there's at least one bee having a good time over there. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then please subscribe and comment. Thank you.